Good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, or good night, or good morning, wherever you're watching from. Today, I've been so excited to bring to you something new. Now, this is going to be launching on air tomorrow on Create and Craft, and it's going to be launching at 11:15. I'm going to be doing the show with Stephanie, so I can't wait for the show. I've been so excited about it. And this product has come a long way. So probably back in November, October time, we sat and discussed an idea that we thought would be really good for you to be able to create something that you could use throughout the seasons to decorate your home, parties, or even as a gift. So we really wanted to put all of these ideas into play and see what we could come up with. And this is what you will receive when you see your transitional wreath. Now this, you might be looking at it thinking, I can see the hoop in there to make it into a wreath, but then I've got a lot of other sections that you can see. So you've got different size discs and little inserts as well. Now what these do is they build up and all slot together to create your transitional wreath. So you can create this for a certain season and then change it around and actually use it again for another one without having to buy a new wreath each time. So when you've spent hours building up a wreath from all those precious flowers that you've spent time making, you don't have to damage them, removing them or anything like that. You can save everything, store it away and get it back out for the next season, which I just think is brilliant because we don't like waste as crafters. We like to be able to reuse things, repurpose things, and this really is what this product is all about. So taking you all the way back again to October, November time, this is where it all started. Now this little hoop has been lying around on my desk and it's like a little symbol of what was going to become in the future. And this is where I got a piece of construction board and cut it out and thought, right, if we've got pieces that slot in, a little bit like a jigsaw puzzle, I know that if I put flowers on there and remove it, I'm going to be able to create a new wreath every single time. So that's just a little bit of an insight as to where this all began here at the Innovation Hub, and it really is quite a story. So I'm going to show you what you can create with it because that's exactly what you want to see. You want to see what you can make. And taking my wreath away, this is just an example of something that you can create with the wreath. Now you can see here, I've built this up with some artificial flowers that I've bought that were really cheap, but you may have got some flowers that you want to repurpose or some that you've been having lying around the house for a long time, thinking these have got a bit dusty, I don't really know if I want to use them anymore. And I'm going to be showing you on the show tomorrow just how you can actually reuse those and upcycle them and recreate them into something that's completely changed and altered. Now if I show you the back of this wreath here, you can actually see where all of those little pieces come into place. So going inside here, actually taking the pieces, you can remove elements of your wreath just like that and replace them back inside it, which is just incredible because you've got an item that will last you forever. And on the show as well, if you want to actually glue down onto those discs that we've talked about, you can buy extra discs, so you can buy tons more additional discs to place onto your hoops and you can just keep on going with it. So I'm going to start off with showing you how to build one of these up. So I've got my wreath hoop here, so I've painted it with my Cadence Hybrid acrylic. Now I've given this just one coat, and the MDF is it's built for interior use or exterior use when you're applying a paint to it like this. It means that you can pop it on your front door, inside the porch, on a window, something like that, depending on the season, and it'll work perfectly. And all I'm going to do is actually show you building it up and what we can create. So here are all my flowers, and I've gone with a Christmas theme for this one. So I know we're a bit early, but if you think of getting all these wreaths made up for Christmas, this might be something that you want to give as gifts for people or presents, anything like that. So I've got the back of my disc here, and I've started to mount all my flowers onto it, which it's a really fun experience to do, and I love wreath making. It's something that I got into last year and started to make a few wreaths for people, and that sort of triggered the idea of how can we make this easier but fun at the same time. So taking all of your wreath elements, all you need to do is start slotting them in. So you can see here, that one there is slotted in straight away. And it's entirely up to you if you want to actually build this wreath up fully or only partially, so you don't have to actually cover the whole wreath. And then you might be thinking, well, then I've got all these notches, and I'm going to show you what you do with that as well, because you don't have to keep them that way, or you could have a wreath as full as you want. So I'm going to start to take all my flowers, and again, artificial flowers to buy are really cheap, but if you've got some lying around, perfect. But of course, on the show, we have got a die set that goes beautifully with this and works really well. and that is the Fleurs Intrepid collection. And you've got a Juliet rose, you've got an orchid, you've got a wreath set of flowers, which is a small set ideal for shaker cards or adding little elements, and you've also got a frilly tulip. So you've got all those elements that work perfectly in making a wreath or just any floral elements that you want to create. So I'm just going around slotting all of my wreath elements in, and you can see here we've got the little, it looks a little bit like a key. So it's a little tooth element, and what that does is it slots into the MDF, and if you wanted this to be permanent and you didn't want to change it, you could glue it all together, or you could leave it so that you can freely move it around. It's entirely up to you, whatever you want to create with it. So I'm going in again, just inserting all of my elements, and they just lock nicely into place. And I've chosen some roses on here as well. So we've got a really nice selection to work with. And it's quite fun just thinking I can choose whatever flowers. And leave us comments as well, letting us know if you are a flower maker or if you've just started to maybe start making flowers, because it's still really new for me. Flower making is something that I've not really done before, and this past few months I really started to get into it, and it is really addictive. Once you start creating flowers, seeing what you can do with them, working with foam, with paper, with card, anything that you like to craft with, you can turn it into flowers, and it is amazing. I love working with it. So you can see here already, I'll just slot that in and try and show you my flowers out of the way. Here we are. So you can see here our wreath is already starting to come together. And how quick was that? Minutes, if that. It's already starting to build up, which I think looks absolutely beautiful. And remember, this is something that you can dismantle and put back together again. So if you're used to making wreaths where maybe you're using a foam block where you're stabbing into it, piercing with your flowers, or if you're cable tying onto it or using wire, all those hours of twisting and wrapping, it's all taken away from you and done so simply with a transitional wreath. So let me pop this one back in, as I think I've just pulled that one out. So like I say, you can glue them if you want to, it's entirely up to you. But of course, we've given you that freedom of being able to buy the extra discs so that you can make up as many as you want to. And of course, you don't have to think of this as flowers. So if you've got the wreath, you may be wanting to put photographs on it, so you could put other elements. You could have it flat like this and make it a table centerpiece with candles on. You could do anything that you want to with this wreath that you may have never thought about doing before with a wire hoop wreath, because it's so versatile. And we've chosen it to be made out of MDF because it's a product that you're all familiar with, and one that can be worked with really easily, one that can be painted, and you can add dyes, elements to it. So I've gone all the way around now with all of my flowers, and then just my top element here. You can see I've chosen the smallest disc, and we've got here the tooth on the back, and I've popped just a little bow onto the top there, and that then would fix just onto the top, and you can see there I've then got my wreath all made up. And see, that would look beautiful on the front door, inside the house, on a porch, or boxed up as a gift. And that's taken me just a few minutes to create, adding all of those layers up, and then you can take all of these off, store them away, and keep them for next season. So that's just one bit of inspiration that you can take from seeing this. And on the show as well, I'm also going to be showing you how to actually colour some of your flowers. Now, I was learning a way of colouring flowers using oil pastels, which is a really fun way to do it, and they look beautiful when they're finished. But taking a look at some of these here, and we gathered so much inspiration around the Innovation Hub of people's ways of how they'd like to colour flowers and what they think might work. And we found that using inks is an incredible way to colour your flowers. So from Cadence, on the show tomorrow, I'm going to be showing you just how you create something like this and this without using any effort of brush stroking with a strong brush, or having to blend the paints into it. It does it all for you. And you can create fantasy flowers, realistic roses, or something that's just quite plain or basic to go on the wreath, or something really elegant and extravagant. So that's just a glimpse of what might be coming up tomorrow, so definitely keep out and watch out for those. And the discs that I've built up on that wreath that I just showed you, I want to actually show you how you make it. So in your wreath selection, when you receive your packet like this, you're going to get 16 inserts. So you've got 16 discs that come with the wreath, and then of course the 16 of the tooth. So all the way around here you can see all the notches, there's 16 of those, so this can be divided up into fours. So you can have 4 elements each one changing around the wreath. So it's a really versatile product to work with because you've just got so much flexibility. And I'm going to show you here, taking the MDF, and this is the smallest disc that you will get. You get 4 of each size. So this is the smallest one. I'm just using my Kit and Caboodle hot glue gun. And of course you can use wet glue when working with your MDF. You can use any type of glue that you want to that bonds the wood together. But hot glue is really good because it's so quick and easy. And flower making, hot glue is something that we can all relate to because we love to work with it because it gets it done so fast. So taking a little bit of hot glue just there, I'm going to take the base and it just sticks onto it, and then that will be then ready to go on our wreath. And of course, when you've made all of those up, you will get something like this. And you can see there, I've actually started to paint one of them. So we've got one green, and that's entirely up to you. You don't have to paint it, but if you wanted to maybe go for something that's quite natural with a foliage background, you'd want the background to blend in with the rest of the wreath. And of course, once you've used it, you can repaint it to whatever colour you want. Red for Christmas, orange for Halloween, maybe pink or yellow for Easter. And they're great for Mother's Day gifts or any sort of birthday event, anything like that, they work perfectly for. And of course, if you gift this to somebody, you could then, for their next present, give them all of the redecorated inserts. And you can say, well, you've got your wreath, now you've got another one. And you didn't have to buy another wreath, you didn't have to buy another hoop, you've just got all those elements that you can build up again. So going back to that little one that I just made here for you, my hot glue is now dried, so that's stuck on there nicely. And I've just got a few artificial flowers here. And you can stick these onto the actual MDF discs in whichever way that you want to. Whether you want to attach them maybe with wire, hot glue, wet glue, any type of adhesive that you've got, or even if you've got some Velcro, something like that, you could apply it and take it off. It's entirely up to you. But I'm going to apply just a bit of hot glue there. And the reason why I'm using the hot glue is, for me, it's a go-to product. It's something that I can relate with really easily. I use it in majority of my crafting, and it's something I found I can get on with really well. Some products, some of us, we sort of struggle with or maybe can't quite find the way it works. And a lot of people have different ways, especially with even making flowers. So that one is stuck just on there like that. I take a little bit more hot glue. Pop it in there. And of course as well, ask any questions that you may have in regards to maybe how you build up the wreath or anything in terms of how you make it, what you want to do with it, or share ideas what you might come up with, because it's great to share that inspiration, see what everyone will create from this, because it has been such a long journey and it's been a really fun, amazing journey creating this product for you. So you can see all of these little flowers are now coming to stick just in there like that. Just going to let that dry for you. Then you can just see how easy it is to work with. So if I get that other wreath here, I've got all these ones. So if I just take, let's say I'll take this one here out, you could then build up the remaining 15 of your elements, because that was so quick to do. It was a matter of seconds before that was built up. And then you can take it, pop it straight into your wreath, and that there is just a glimpse of what you can create with that wreath. And you can see that layering all those elements, you can make it as full as you want, or if you want just a couple in bunches on each side, maybe hang a photograph or something in the middle, you can create so much with it. It's just amazing. And of course, think of all of those ideas, inspiration, wreaths that you may have seen before where you've thought, that's really nice, but that's really expensive. You'll be able to do this now with all of those products that you've always had and be able to create something different every single time. So I just want to show you one more layering up the wreath. And you can see I've painted this a really nice pale pink colour. And I've done that because I'm going to use some flowers that are going to tone in with it really nicely. So I've popped all this just to one side. Here I've actually started to work with my Fleurs flowers, my intrepid ones. And we've got some of our tulips in here, and we've got some of our Juliet roses. Now I used the Fleurs flower forming foam. God, that's a tongue twister, isn't it? So I used my Fleurs flower. I used some foam to create my flowers with, and it's from the Fleurs collection, so it's a really good product to work with. Of course, it's been designed as to what you're going to do with it. It's versatile, it's strong, and you can heat it up, mould it even with just your fingers, or of course ball tools, whichever way you like to work with it. And you can create some stunning effects with just a few materials. And it's so easy to do. I loved it. I never even thought myself as a flower maker. or even being able to make flowers. And I've been having gathered some inspiration from people around the office, seeing what people do, and especially seeing what's on Create and Craft. It really just brings it all in, and then once you've got started and know the hack of how to create them, really there is no limit to what you can make. So I'm going to take this one here, and you can see this is a huge element for the wreath, and it's made up consisting of just one insert. So I'm going to be adding 3 elements to each side, which means that I've only used 3 of my discs. So you would be able to make up multiple wreaths, even with just the 16 discs that you get, because you don't necessarily have to use them all. So if I take this one and pop it just onto one of the inside notches, I'm just going to slide it just in there like that. And you can see already we've got a bit of shaping, and we can see exactly what we're going to be creating. And of course, with your flower dies, you do get all your foliage with them as well. So all of your leaves, your long leaves, your rose leaves, combine them all together, they'll all work nicely. And I've made some smaller ones up as well. So you can see there we've got some roses, we've got some tulips, all inked up beautifully using your Fleurs pastels. And I'm going to add this to the outside, and have fun, have a play with it. See what you can create, and of course change it around each time. And this one is going to slide just in there like that. And you can see we've got part of our wreath assembled. I just love seeing that straight away, and even seeing this, it makes me think of maybe a baby shower or a Mother's Day gift, something like that. And of course you could hang a photo inside. You've got all these notches so that you can actually have hanging points, so you can hang photos, items, initial, a letter, something like that, or even an age number for a birthday. I'm going to take the rest of my elements, and this is the middle one, so I'm going to pop that one here. And what I'm going to try and do is make it so it's counterbalanced, if that makes sense. So we've got some nice foliage this side, we've got some on the other side, and we should hopefully have a really nice effect. We'll take this one and pop that in here. There we are, so that's all our flower elements popped onto there, and that just looks stunning. That's all created from your transitional wreath and just those dies on that show. So just looking at this, think of how much more you could do with those. And I did mention earlier, I said you may want to know how to cover the notches. So last thing I want to show you is just how you do that, and I've taken some Hessian tape. Now you could use ribbon, you could use whatever type of product you want to, even cardstock moulded round and wrapped, turning into your own ribbons, or foam, absolutely anything. And I'm taking a bit of tape just for the video to show you just how easy it is to put on and take off. And you could, if you wanted to, actually trap this tape inside the notches and put your flower into it. That way you can reuse your ribbon afterwards. I'm going to pop it behind the disc like this, and you can see, and then all I'm going to do is start actually wrapping it round on my wreath, and that way I've got a really nice finished edge. I'm going to move that one actually over a little bit more, so we've got a nice coverage. There we go. Just like that. So easy to do, so easy. And take a tiny bit more tape and just pop it under here, just like that. And I've got one more piece. Take it to the other side. And if you're seeing this, or if you're watching this and you're thinking, I would do that a completely different way, I'd love to hear what you would think and what you would do with it. Because some of you may just make wreaths, that might be what you do. Maybe you enjoy making wreaths, or you may have done it before, thought, oh, that took quite a long time, or, oh, I didn't really know what I was doing, I needed a bit of guidance. This will do it for you, so let me know what you think of it as well, because it's great to hear back from you all. And I'm going to take a tiny bit more tape just in this corner. And like I said as well, if you wanted to grip your tapes in, or your ribbons, on this little insert I've got one just here. If I show you, obviously I'm not going to keep this here, but it will lock it into place. So squeezing that into there locks that bit of tape in place. So one of these flowers could be doing that, meaning you don't have to use any glues or anything like that. So I take that off, and there we have a lovely wreath that's built up in just a matter of minutes that you could dismantle and completely change for the next season, or change for your next event when we're allowed to have people around and do all fun things again. This could be the centerpiece of your party, or just your home decoration, whatever you want it for. We've got so many different variations of this on the show to show you as well, so many samples, and we've got so many different ways of doing it. So I will see you tomorrow on Create and Craft. I'm on at 11:15 and then again at 6:45. So join me and Stephanie for the show. I cannot wait for it. And please let me know in any comments or tips or advice or anything you'd like to know regarding this collection or anything in terms of flower making. I'll do my best to answer, and I will always make sure I get the right answer for you. So thank you ever so much everyone for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.